A woman came to the funeral parlor to see her husband's corpse.
You did a good job,
She said to the undertaker. He looks just the way he always looks, except for one thing. My husband always wore a brown suit, but you have him dressed in a blue suit. That's no problem, said the undertaker. We can easily change it. When she returned later, her husband was wearing a brown suit. Now he looks just the way he always did, she said. I know you went to a lot of trouble. It was no trouble, he said. As it happened, there is a man here who was wearing a brown suit, and his widow felt that blue would be better. He is about your husband's size, so he gave him the blue one, and gave your husband the brown one. Even so, she said, changing all that clothing was a big job. Not really, said the undertaker. All we did was exchange their heads.
The appointment. A 16-year-old boy worked on his grandfather's horse farm. One morning, he drove a pickup truck into town on an errand. While he was walking along the main street, he saw Death. Death beckoned to him. The boy drove back to the farm as fast as he could and told his grandfather what had happened. Give me the truck, he begged. I'll go to the city. He'll never find me there. His grandfather gave him the truck, and the boy sped away. After he left, his grandfather went into town looking for Death. When he found him, he asked, Why did you frighten my grandson in that way? He's only 16. He's too young to die. I'm sorry about that, said Death. I did not mean to beckon to him, but I was surprised to see him here. You see, I have an appointment with him this afternoon in the city.
The Thing. Ted Martin and Sam Miller were good friends. They spent a lot of time together. On this particular night, they were sitting on a fence near the post office, talking about one thing or another. There was a field of turnips across the road. Suddenly, they saw something crawl out of the field and stand up. It looked like a man, but it was in the dark, and it was hard to tell for sure. Then it was not. But soon it appeared again. It walked halfway across the road, then it turned around and went back to the field. Then it came out a third time and started toward them. By now, Ted and Sam were scared, and they started running. But when they finally stopped, they decided they were being foolish. They weren't sure what had scared them, so they decided to go back and get a better look. Pretty soon, they saw it for what it was coming to meet them. It was wearing black pants, a white shirt, and a pair of black suspenders. Sam said, I'm going to try to touch it. Then we'll know if it's real. He walked up, peered at it into the face. It had bright, penetrating eyes sunk deep in its head. It looked like a skeleton. Ted took one look and screamed, and again he and Sam ran. But this time the skeleton followed them. When they got to Ted's house, they stood in the doorway and watched it. It stayed in the road for a while, then it disappeared. Then, like a year later, Ted got sick and died. And toward the end, Sam sat up with him every night. And the night Ted died, Sam said he looked just like the skeleton.